Your Excellency, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Honorable Mike Kibaki, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Your Excellency the Vice President, Your Eminence Cardinal John Dewey, Ministers, Members of Parliament, Ambassadors, and all protocols observed. I feel greatly honored to have been nominated by the family and friends of our departed brother, Professor George Saitoti, to give a tribute on behalf of the friends of the late minister. It is impossible for some of us to come to terms with the tragic events of that fateful Sunday. We owe it to our friend and brother to get to the bottom of what caused this horrific tragedy. But the one thing we may never ever know is why now and why George Saitoti. For those of us who knew the professor well, he was one of the most humble, intellectually brilliant, thoughtful, and broad-minded men. His persistent and patient attention to detail was extremely remarkable. I guess that was the mathematician in him. Facts only, he used to say, Jimmy, no porojo. I would always taunt him back. What tribe are you really, Prof? To which he would reply with unequivocal, without equivocation, I'm Kenyan. He had transcended the tribal mindset that enslaves many of us. He had his fortunes and trials with equal measure, but he endured his tribulations with courage and humility. It is so sad that just as his star was rising, our Maker chose to take him away from us. This tragedy happened on a journey to South Nyanza, where he was going to do church work. But his journey was cut short in the constituency he represented, at the place he grew up, and just a few kilometers from his primary school. But George leaves us with one clarion call that we must treasure forever. There comes a time when this nation is more important than any one individual. As the old English saying goes, never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for you and me. Today it is George, tomorrow it is me and you. Like many of you, I was not ready to lose my friend George Saitoti. We spent a memorable 2 hours together in his home late last Wednesday. He was in no hurry for me to leave. Little did I know that that was going to be the last time I saw my great friend. All he kept saying was that the only political formula that embraces, that only a political formula that embraces all Kenyans will truly work and ensure the stability plus progress after the forthcoming elections. I have lost my greatest friend and a true brother's keeper. Kenya has actually lost a great son who only sought to serve and add value. All of us are much poorer without him and without his determination to serve this nation to the best of his ability. We loved you, George. We cherished you, and though gone, your soul lives on in our hearts in immortality. Go well till we meet again in heaven.
Thank you, Jimmy. Now I'd like to call upon Mama Margaret Saitoti to come and pay her tribute.
I am standing in for Mrs. Margaret Saitoti, and I read my reflections of our life together. My dear George, what a life we have shared, a lovely and memorable companionship, a love that has known no bounds. My mind goes back when first we met. We were both young and full of hope, both for a bright future. There was no doubt in our minds that we were meant for each other, and our relationship was actualized in 1976 when we got married. That was and still is the most memorable day of my life. Our union was complete with the arrival of our son, who has brought great joy into our life. We have observed him grow and mature into a dashing young man. Over the years, you have mentored our son, the entire Musengi family, all the relatives, and the clan as a whole to face the challenges of life confidently. Support for each other. Our roles and responsibilities towards each other and to our families were clearly defined right from the start. I realized early in our life together that you had a higher calling. Public life beckoned you, and apart from us and the extended family, serving the country was where your focus would be. Naturally, my role evolved and gradually developed around yours. I realized that you had great love for this country. Your commitment to your professional career in all the institutions that you served was very important to you. I appreciated that you would need enormous background support in executing your various responsibilities. I therefore had no reservations in releasing you to the nation. My duty to you was to provide you with all the support that a wife should give. I would like that to be my humble contribution to your success. I rejoiced in your success as you ascended to key positions in the country, both in the academic field, in public service, and the political arena. On your part, you did not leave me behind. It was through your encouragement and support that I succeeded in my career in management. Ever the family man, you always had quality time for us and your loving mother, brothers, sisters, extended family, and your constituents. You were always conscious of the needs and interests of the extended family. So, for me and the nuclear family, there is no saying goodbye. Our love will always remain in our hearts forever, and we will continue with the tasks you set before us. Fare thee well, my love, my friend, my husband, and a loving father. Your wife, Margaret.
Thank you for that glowing tribute to a great man.
I would describe Professor George Saitoti as the face of Kenya for me. I say so because when I had to come to Kenya on the exercise of campaigning against AIDS, that's when I met him, and we became very good friends. In fact, I would describe him as my Catholic Church friend, because I wasn't particularly fond of going to church, but he insisted that on that Sunday we would have to go to church, and had no choice but to oblige. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know then that he was a mathematician, but there was something odd about him, or rather something very precise. His looks, his movement, the way he talked. It was only recently that I realized that he was a mathematician, but now I can understand that I believe his whole life must have revolved around his mathematical mindedness, in the sense that his 2 + 2 never gave him 5 like it does with some of us. It's a pity that we should lose someone like this. I'm equally saddened by the loss of his deputy. I don't recall him, but the little I read about him tells me that he must have been a man of equal grace. It's people like that, it's people like these who create an atmosphere that makes it possible for us to find, to be compatible with one another. When we don't have people like him or his deputy, whose humor creates a warm atmosphere, then we tend to lose a lot. As someone said of his deputy in a write-up I read this morning, he was very critical of his party without being disloyal to it. In my country, I dare not be critical. You're critical to your party, and it's as if you're being disloyal. Ladies and gentlemen, that description gave me a lot of warmth this morning. That is true, the true culture of democracy. The work I'm doing here is related to Somalia, is making it possible for me to learn a lot about Kenya and the richness of the Kenyan society. I was saddened when I saw on Al Jazeera that some people were celebrating his demise. And that's when I thought, with the work I'm doing over there, I will be here to demonstrate my solidarity with his task to bring security to his country. Mr. President, thank you very much.